Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you can learn to make more money in less time and have more fun, especially more fun. I'm Paul Sanneman, your host. I'm the founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. I have as my guest this morning, Les O'Hara from the Contractors Huddle. We go back a ways, don't we, Les?
We do, and I'm honored to be on your show, and you're such a great mentor to me.
So we've done some stuff. We've done some recruiting things for you. So you have an endeavor called Contractors Huddle. Can you explain a little bit what that is and how that works?
Yeah, so the Contractor Huddle, after 30 years in the trades, about 8 years ago, I realized that I have a great skill at helping entrepreneurs, especially construction owners, because that's what I grew up in, help them grow their companies and scale without, losing their families.
I
So
see.
over that time, we've added a couple components to that huddle, which is more than just coaching. It's now that CRM that I'm excited to share with you. You and I have been talking about quite a bit. And we have QBVAs that we help companies put those people in there to help them do some of the blocking and tackling.
Okay, so what is a QBBA?
So what I realized as we were coaching contractors and we said, hey, here's all these things that you need to do, Paul, which a lot that I learned from you, which is one, doing the bare bones social media posts so that when a customer actually does some research about you, it doesn't look like there's been one post since 2019. And we know about how important your Google My Business page is nowadays and replying to reviews and getting reviews. And then there's the blocking and tackling of staying in your QuickBooks and doing the daily accounting and reconciliation that you need. So as I was coaching contractors, they weren't getting this basic stuff done. So I got so frustrated that I just started hiring VAs for my own construction business. And then I showed my contractors how to hire VAs to do a lot of this stuff for them. And so we started a little cottage business from the success of matching contractors with great stay-at-home moms that have been in the business world that just need 5 to 10, sometimes 20 hours a week to help an owner do that simple stuff.
Okay, and how do you find these VAs?
So that's a little bit of our secret sauce.
Okay,
There's yeah, no, it's groups of these women business people are clustered in Facebook groups that we're involved with. And then all of our team are these former moms or current moms that are doing this business. So they go in there, they vet them, interview them, and then we train them on these systems so that if someone ends up falling out, we're able to replace someone very quickly.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I love about
Now,
your
what kind of function can the virtual assistant do? Give me some examples.
all your social media posts, replying to reviews, requesting reviews, getting permits, scheduling jobs, doing the basic accounting work of downloading transactions and coding them to your proper codes in your QuickBooks. Things that I love is, just scheduling my personal stuff. Hey, I need flights to go down to Miami right now for a family trip. I have my VA handling all of those details, renting cars. I mean, all of that stuff that you as the entrepreneur shouldn't really be doing, you would have your assistant do.
What you're saying, they can do anything you want to have done as long as it isn't something we have to physically be in the office for, right?
Yeah, and nowadays it's amazing. COVID has just blown this concept away of you needing to be in your office. So, for example, my chief of staff that runs my masonry company, she's in Idaho. We're in Illinois.
Hmm.
My chief of staff who runs the CRM Build 12 company, she's in Ohio. Uh, Carly, who runs the QBVA and is our personal VA, she's in Oklahoma. So this day and age, you do not need that. Everything's online in the cloud. So that person could be trained and run your whole system.
That's right. I learned from one of the guys I was doing a podcast with. he says all you do is you put your VA on Zoom and sit them on your desk, and they're there all day, right? They don't have to physically be there, but I've used that. It works great because, I work with several Marie and Phil, several VAs, and they're like here all the time, right? They're sitting on my desk and they're in my Zoom meetings and that kind of thing. So they totally know what's going on. They got my email, they do all my stuff for me. I couldn't survive without them. So that's
I
great.
know, I know. It's been a game changer for me.
Okay. So tell them a little about your background on this. How did you come to this conclusion and a little bit about how you got into the huddle and what businesses you've had and that kind of thing?
Well, I've scaled more or less roofing type of businesses, HVAC restoration, masonry, and about 8 years ago, I have 4 boys, and I just had a feeling like I'm going to get into the sports training business because all my kids were athletes, and we were driving all around the country to try to get the best training. So I sold almost all of my businesses and I took all the money, I plowed it into, we're going to build a sports training facility and take this nationwide.
Okay.
Well, what I realized was that wasn't my skill set of running, those kind of businesses. I was great at contracting businesses and construction. And so, but what I did come out of that learning was that I was great at mentoring elite entrepreneurs, elite athletes. And I said, I wonder if there's a market because I was already mentoring my GMs that were running these companies. Other owners of construction companies were coming to me for help. So I said to myself, is there a market for this kind of coaching? This, not even knowing about your career and
Mhm.
all that you were doing for 30 plus years. So I wanted to be a Paul Sanneman. So that was about 8 years ago. And I really enjoy this, Paul. There's such satisfaction in helping an owner get what they want out of the business and all of the struggles that I have been through, you have been through. I getting to alleviate that for other owners is, been a true blessing for me in running these kind of businesses.
Can you give us an example of somebody you helped and how you helped them? It's a real life example. You don't have to give their name, but just sort of what business they're in and how you help them.
Yeah, so there's three type of contractors that we really help, and most of my clients fall into the middle one. And the middle avatar is they're doing about $1 million to 3 million, and all of a sudden they're not this top-down leader anymore. They can't do everything, and now they're starting to have some employees and trying to find the right people. That's why we refer you guys so much out because these growing companies need A players and you could fill
Right.
that need. But that owner doesn't really have the systems and processes now to scale. Everything's falling apart. There's more sales, all of this additional revenue generation and production is really showing problems. The financials, there's cash flow issues, there's marketing ROIs. They don't know where the marketing spend is. That is the ideal client that we're helping with. Get organized. We start with 3 pillars. One is financial management. That's QuickBooks. That is getting all of the numbers very, very accurate and getting the clarity from those numbers, getting a cash flow forecast built for them so that they could see out 12 weeks in advance of their cash needs, putting a budget together so that they're working off of a budget. That's the financial pillar. The second pillar, which you brought me on, is Build 12. What I realized is that in the marketplace of all of these softwares and tech stacks that we're all using, Builder Trend, AccuLinks, Job Nimbus, I use House Call Pro, there wasn't a great software that could do the top of the funnel nurturing and sales and marketing automations to really put your best foot forward for closing more deals.
Mhm.
Once they're sold, then we teach them how you go into those other softwares. But then on the bottom of that, when they're a customer and a raving fan, how to get reviews and referrals. And then we put more people in the top of the funnel, remarket to them. So that's the second pillar is the sales and marketing automations. And then the third pillar we help these contractors with is the systems and processes that you need now to scale past this chaos that's going on in your business. So that's the org chart, that's the hiring systems, that's the meeting rhythms, that's the job descriptions, that's the safety manuals, the employee manuals, all that, blocking and tackling that they need that they're having to come up on their own.
Can you give me an example of somebody, give me their name, that you've helped and how it's helped them with their profitability or their just family life or anything that made their life better?
Well, there's so many. I hope that some of your guests will join me on LinkedIn and connect with me there, and you'll see, so many of the clients that we're working with and what they specifically say. A lot of it is peace of mind. They have more clarity in their business right now. They are more profitable than they ever were. So those success stories, instead of me maybe talking about them, I like the fact that they can actually see real live contractors that are
Okay.
them on LinkedIn.
So how do they find you on LinkedIn?
Les O'Hara
Okay.
should pop up pretty easily.
And what do you see as you've doing this a while now? What do you see is in general, the biggest challenge of the contractors you work with, and how do you handle it?
The one that I'm encountering, I would say two main ones that I'm encountering right now for the last 3 years. One is there's so much need for teaching the owner the financials and what they should be aiming for and getting clarity from the financials. But barring that, what I'm so excited about how we reconnected over the years is that everyone is saying the same thing, finding great people. And so when I mentor a CEO, I tell them your three main jobs now that you got this business going. Number one is maintaining the economic engine, where the leads are coming in. Is it a ROI on that spend? That's your number one thing, is to keep that economic engine going. But number two, your main role as the owner, CEO, is hiring and recruiting A players. That's where you obviously hit a home run. And so we outsource that. And it also involves finding great subcontractors. And we
Right.
have some tricks and tips to do that. But then three, your other third main thing as the owner CEO that you have to do is hold those A players accountable. So you could bring them on, but if they're not being held accountable to what they need to do, these KPIs of what we hired them for,
Mhm.
then you start having problems. And that's where the systems and processes
Can
kind
you
of.
explain to our listeners what a KPI is and how they work?
Yeah, so key performance indicator. So what we teach our owners and their executive teams is that you need to have a weekly meeting that everyone on the team is looking at these numbers. What are those numbers? For a lot of our clients, it's how many leads came in this last week. Another KPI could be how many jobs were awarded this week and what is our total backlog. So we know that's going to
Mhm.
drive some decisions. Number three, another KPI could be how is our cash position? Do we have enough cash? Is it below or way high of a threshold? We can go on and on. Usually we identify 6 to 8 key performance indicators. So when that owner meets with his team on that weekly meeting, they are looking just at those. And if there's any sway of not meeting those numbers, then the meeting totally goes into what's going on. We're digging into that. That is the one problem. Because if the owner could identify these 6 to 8 KPIs that the company needs to have running for the success of what we said is needed for this next year, this next 3 years, 5 years, then if it's not hitting it, they need to attack it, with great force and figure out what's going
Now,
on.
is part of that profitability of jobs you're working on?
Absolutely. Job profitability, 100%. We need that report coming in from QuickBooks. That's your gross profit percentage. That could be a great KPI because so much is driven off of the decisions is the gross profit dollars that a construction company is bringing to the table. So job profitability, well, how we look at it is the overall gross profit hitting, let's say we want 35%. If that weekly number now drops to 33%, now that says we need to dig in and look over the last 30, 60 days and do a job profitability report. What happened? Did we lose, are we losing money on a job? And then make some changes or, address it as soon as possible before it could turn into a much larger problem.
Now, how often do you get these numbers, and is it like weekly? And if you do it weekly or monthly, how is it like taking account the last 3 weeks, last week? How does that work? I mean, how accurate are they and how timely are they?
They have to be accurate and timely. We recommend weekly. So someone on your staff is putting together those KPIs. So everyone at that weekly meeting where we're reviewing the KPIs, everyone has their eyes on them and they are 100% accurate. Then there's also the monthly reporting, which is your financial reporting. It's your marketing reporting. How many leads came in for the month? What was the ROI on each of those spend? Angie's List, pay-per-click, trade shows. What was the ROI on each of those? What was the gross profit on your financials? What's the total debt on the balance sheet? What's your current assets to current liabilities? I know many contractors, their heads probably spinning right now, but it's truly a unique thing is once they learn it 1 or 2 times, they're very astute now of building that in their company. That's my most satisfaction, Paul, is that most of the contractors that I teach now are able to teach this to their own team and other contractors. It's the blocking and tackling. Once you
Right.
learn how to tackle once, it's just having another coach keep an eye on you and
Right.
seeing you make the tackle.
So one says your decisions are only as good as the information you have, right? And so if you don't have the right information, it's impossible to make the right decisions because you don't know what you don't know, right? So what you're saying is that you can show contractors how to get information they need to make the right decisions and then make the right decisions in real time to move their country forward versus going, oh my God, I ran out of cash. I wonder why, right?
Exactly. That's the building blocks of the first thing we do is get clarity on all the numbers and make sure they're 100% accurate. If you're not getting the numbers or the numbers aren't accurate, you're dead in the water.
You can't make good decisions. That sounds great. Well, Les, if people want to do a discovery call with you, can they do like a free call or anything like that just to find out how you could help them?
Absolutely. Just visit thecontractorhuddle.com and schedule a time. Let's get on the phone, learn more about your business, and then we'll share all the cool things that we're doing over here at the Huddle.
Okay, cool. Well, I recommend a contractor doing that. I recommend that you do that because unless you know your numbers, it's like I use an instrument panel on airplane analogy, right? And the analogy I use, if you're flying a Piper Cub, there's a sky and there's a ground, you're good. If you're flying, a Beechcraft, a little accurate. If you're flying a jet, you don't have the right instrument panels, you die, right? And I see what happens is contractors start in a Piper Cub and they get bigger and bigger. Now they're flying something that's doing $2 or $3 million a year. Their instruments are not adequate, and the only way they, you can only stay in business as long as you can afford to pay for your mistakes, right? So a lot of them crash because they don't have the right instrumentation. And so I think you can really help with that, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, well, I would suggest you give Les a call. Great information, Les. I appreciate you being here.
Paul, honor. Thanks so much. Thanks for being a mentor to me.
Thank you.